right, start out, get a few comments just on practice this week, and then we'll take your questions. And a reminder, no live stream.
We've had 3 good days. I think the guys have had a lot of good energy out there at practice, a lot of enthusiasm. I thought today was the best, obviously, because we had pads, and we had a good audience out there with a lot of prospects. So excited about the progress we've made. We got a long way to go. Probably not as deep as we've been on the defensive front, where we need to be. Got a lot of offensive linemen competing for a lot of positions. Some young DBs that got to grow up. Seems like there's a lot of experienced wide receivers out there everywhere. Obviously, Jake's done a good job. He's got command of the offense. And Justin's picking it up very quick. He's very bright. And then Stetson Bennett has been doing a good job as well. So I'm pleased with the progress we've made. We got to continue to do that. There was good physical practice out there today, and guys competed. So now I'll open it up.
How similar is the competition between Justin and Jake as last year between Jacob and Jake at the same time?
I don't know. I think last year, with no Bryce, you felt like there was not a 3 there evident. I think Stetson, being that he's done what he did through fall camp, the season being the scout team guy, and then the bowl practices getting to work. I feel like we got 3 guys there that are really competing and doing a good job. I think it's a little different because I think Jake obviously played more games than Jacob did with the success we were able to have getting the extra games. He's picked things up well, and Justin's a very advanced quarterback similar to how Jake was coming in. So those guys have they've done a good job picking it up. I'm extremely pleased with the leadership both of them provide, and also kind of how they push the defense. I mean, Jake's out there competing each day.
When you talk about the defensive front, what's your impressions of the inside linebackers with that Roquan so far?
You see things show up. I mean, certainly not having him there, there's things that pop up. I think there's good players there. There's not maybe a dynamic player, but they've got to do it by committee. We got pretty good backs still. When you look at Swift, Holyfield, Harry, and those guys coming out of the backfield, they're hard to cover. So there's been some plays made that it was like, uh-oh, that guy didn't cover that guy like 3 used to. So they've got to improve that. They got to continue to. But I do like that group. Coach Schumann challenges them each day. We've been rolling who goes with the 1s and 2s and 3s because there's really no defined starter, in my opinion. I mean, there's literally 6 guys competing for 2 starting spots, and there's nobody that's you can't say anybody's a starter there. There's nobody that's really played a bunch.
I think it kind of made an assumption that Andrew Thomas would pop over there to left tackle and be the left tackle. Obviously, he's working there. What have been your impressions of him over there?
I probably hadn't paid close attention to it as much as I should. That's hard to say in shorts, and today being the first day in pads, I do know this. If you don't notice him, it's probably a good thing. It's not like there's popping up sacks and things. I mean, it's very quiet. It's like, okay, there's not a lot of issues over there. We hadn't got a lot of pass rush off that side. He's made the transition well. I think Coach Pittman has done a good job leading up to this of walkthroughs, knowledge. We had bowl practices where we just worked on us, and he flipped over and played 2 or 3 practices. So it's not foreign to him. He's done a tremendous job. The challenge for Andrew is, can he become a vocal leader, not just a leader by example. He's got to learn to push other guys and challenge other guys along with Lamont. And I think he can be that kind of impact leader.
I know you've been on teams where the defense is just reloaded, even though they lost a lot of guys. But how stark is like the difference in the character of this defense with all that experience they left, and with Roquan, a guy that would make so many plays by himself, not very.
Yeah, it's hard to measure right now because we haven't hit adversity. When you're in no pads, it's hard to create adversity because there's no contact and there's not a lot of big plays because you don't really know if they got them or not. Then today, it was a little chippy out there and guys were hitting, and I thought the defense actually the first day today was better than first day last year, because I know y'all still don't believe me, but last spring was, I don't know the right word, horrible maybe for the defense because Roquan wasn't there and Trenton wasn't there, and we really got out physicaled. But that wasn't that way today. But it does scare me that it could be that way some days because we are a little older, more mature on the offensive line, got a good quarterback, and we got to get better on defense. And there's some holes out there. We've got a lot of young DBs. Devon Wilson got injured today. I don't know the status of that, but that's disheartening because he had 3 really good practices, and I was really fired up about him. and we'll have to wait and see what the injury is.
Did you know he was? I'm sorry, Kirby. You've mentioned him a couple of times. Not trying to make too much of it, but did you realize he would be able to come and compete immediately like that? Did you think that in October, November, you saw him?
Who are we talking about? Devon?
The DB.
Well, October, November, I don't even think we were going to get him. I mean, I don't think when did we get him? We didn't get him till late. I don't think till the changeover happened.
But did you know when he was younger, I guess you could say, did you know he would?
And we'd watched him play. We thought he was a good player. We had him in camp over the summer. Thought a lot of him, and the biggest thing is he's 190, 95 pounds. He's that Mo Smith, that Aaron Davis, that star type body, and he was picking things up well. Again, I don't want to jump to conclusions. I don't know. I just know he took he was down out there. So we'll see if he's able to come back or not. But we're going to have to find some guys that can mature and play, and we got to find a star and nickel. We got to find a couple safeties, and find at least a couple corners.
Are you able to say what kind of injury?
No, it's lower extremity.
Kirby, I know I asked you this on Tuesday, but we hadn't seen Sam out there. And I just, what's the situation there?
Sam's been dealing with a medical issue, and we feel it's in his best interest from a medical standpoint for him to no longer play football. His health and safety is our greatest concern, and we're applying for a medical exemption, and he'll continue to be with the team, work with the team, whether it's in the weight room or video staff. He'll help us in other ways, but he's done a tremendous job since being here, and we'll be moving forward that way.
Kirby, who has been working in that star? You've mentioned Evad, but who else has been working in? How important is to define that role with Aaron?
Well, it's like 80% of what we do, and Tyreek McGee is a really good star, but he's not real big. And Tyreek's a physical guy, but he weighs 180 pounds, and in our league, we're going to have to get creative there. Last year it was a struggle. We had to play Lorenzo there some. Walter Grant is a guy that plays that position well, and hopefully he'll be able to help us there. But William Poole, Tyreek McGee, it's all those guys you see us out there in pre-practice working with. So those guys are all, we're trying to find a role. Jaden Hunter may be a guy, because he's athletic and can play in space. We're gonna keep trying to put the best 11 on the field.
With Christian Payne gone, are y'all still going to use that fullback kind of position next year? And if so, you might go into that position?
Yeah, we had it last year where the backup was a tight end. In most traditional fullback offenses, use tight ends in that role as a backup because you only get to travel 70. So we'll keep those portions of our offense. We think those are good weapons to have that, but it'll be done by committee. It'll be done by Jackson, Nada, and all those guys. Charlie. And we'll also have guys coming in the fall that can help with that.
It seems like in the past you've had Nick, Sonny, Roquan, these sort of superstar guys. It's harder and harder to identify the superstars, if you will, on this team, maybe the program in general. How's that working chemistry-wise for the program?
I think it's good. I mean, I don't think those guys ever saw themselves as superstars. We certainly didn't treat them that way. They didn't behave that way. They didn't practice that way. So nobody in this program plays or practices with an entitlement. That's my ultimate goal. So I'm looking for the entitlement guys every day at practice to see if they feel that way and challenge them to compete. Whether we have a superstar or what you call a first rounder, I don't know that. I know we've got a lot of kids out there competing, trying hard, and we got a long way to go because we got a lot of guys. I mean, if you take the snaps we got to replace, especially on defense, we have a long way to go. But I enjoy coaching this group. They're like sponges. They absorb. I mean, so far, they've had the eagerness that you would like to have.
Chris, what can you say about maybe Matt Landers and Jeremiah Holloman and their progression coming into this year? And you also mentioned leaders at wide receivers. Who are you seeing as those emerging leaders? Yeah,
Terry and Riley are clearly Miko. Those three guys, they have a presence about them. They have a confidence about them. They were able to make some plays last year. I think the last 2-3 days, the thing that stuck out to me is the Jason Stanley, Tyler Simmons, Akil Crumpton, Chigbu's made some plays. Matt's growing up. He's trying to grow up and push through. But I tell you, those guys, I mean, Kieris, I don't know if I mentioned him, and those guys have got out there, and JJ, they're not sitting there going, okay, well, I'm learning what to do anymore. They're challenging the guys in front of them. The volume of reps all those two receivers took last year is really paying off because our two receivers are ahead of a lot of our 2 DB group. and that's a bright spot. Is that I feel like we've got a pretty good depth of receivers. They helped us a lot on special teams last year.
You mentioned the nickel, that star position a minute ago. Who's working there? I mean, is it everybody's getting some work there right now, or are you guys trying to get a group of guys ready to play there?
You been in here the whole time? He just asked that question.
I'm
It's
sorry.
the guys that I work with at the beginning of practice. So it's Jaden, it's Poole, it was Divide, depending on what's happening there, Walter Grant, Keon Brown, those guys. I mean, those are like big stars, but we have Tyreek McGee and William Poole, and we're probably going to have to move somebody else there if Divide's out for any amount of time.
Kirby, just curious, with the NFL draft coming up, is that something you plan on attending this year?
You know, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. I'd seen some stuff about Roquan. I think that, yeah, we'll probably send Coach Schumann, to be honest with you. He's from Dallas, and I think it'd be a great honor for him, having Coach Roquan. They had a special relationship, and it'd be a great opportunity for him to go. I'll be honest, I hadn't even thought about whether I would go or not.
You've got an all-star cast sort of for your coaching clinic in here coming in and speaking and stuff. You really seem to be, I don't know, embracing and promoting Georgia's NFL connection. Is that something that you, a message that you want to get out and have? It's clear you have strong relationships with these guys.
Yeah, I don't know that the point of a coaching clinic, if you go to the core purpose of it, it's not to raise money, it's not to make money, it's to promote a game that I love, that I think has been really good to me, but it's also great for kids. I mean, it's great for student athletes. I mean, you think about the opportunities that our players got to go to the University of Georgia and play football and get an education here. That's invaluable. So we're trying to give back to the high school coaches in Georgia and really all over the country. You know, we've already got 700 registered, more than we've ever had, expecting over 1,000 high school coaches for a clinic that no Georgia high school clinic has ever had over 500. But it's not, my expectation is put the best clinic on in the country, because I think I'm at the best university in the country. So we're going to put the best speakers out there. We're going to let them come talk. They've already made a rule where we can't have a high school coach come speak. So when you take that away, why would high school coaches want to come to our clinic if they can't watch other high school coaches speak? You better have a star-studded cast to get them to come. And I think giving back to the coaches through our drills, we're going to let the coaches be able to come and sit in our meetings and learn. And not many people are willing to do that in their clinic, but I'm trying to give back to them because they are our feeder program. You know, the state of Georgia has the best high school coaches in the country because our state education system is such that they get good benefits, they get good pay. So if they're developing tough, hard-nosed, disciplined football players, guess who I get to inherit? Those guys. So it's somewhat of a minor league for us. So I really believe that you should give back to them. And Coach Belichick was like, absolutely, I would love to come speak at your clinic because you got one of the best states in the country to play football in. McVay and Dan Quinn the same way.
Last question.
Bakari Rambo. I've seen him out there the last few days. Is he working with you guys in some capacity, Romo?
Yes, he is working currently as an intern, and there's a possibility he would be. We hope for him to be a GA eventually whenever the time's right. But right now he's just an intern, and he's an invaluable resource for these kids because he's a kid that pushed through, graduated from University of Georgia, came from down in South Georgia where a lot of our kids come from, and we think the experiences he's had playing in the NFL are just unbelievable for these student athletes. Thanks, guys.